Hello and welcome in, race fans, to tonight's event under the lights here at the LA Coliseum for the All-American Racing League halfway through the season point All-Star race. We are getting ready for what should be a pretty entertaining show. Lots of twists, lots of turns, and joining me for all of the action tonight, as usual, is my co-host Tom Richter. How's it going tonight, Tom?
Hey Ari, happy Saturday to you. Happy Saturday to everybody out here watching this fun all-star race. Ari, this is a race that a lot of drivers had circled for a long time. Top 20 drivers in driver points making their way out here tonight. Currently 19 cars out on the track. And yeah, I guess we've got some twists and turns out here tonight as they will unfold over the next 150 laps.
All will be revealed in due time. We couldn't possibly go over all of the shenanigans right now before the action gets started, but what we can tell you is that the practice hour is coming to a close in the next handful of minutes, and when we jump into qualifying, these drivers are going to have a little bit of a different look when it comes to setting the field for tonight's event. They're going to have 4 laps around the shortest track on the schedule. They're going to have 4 laps over 10 minutes to go out there and try and lay down as good a time as they can, and we'll see from there. There may or may not be some more stuff involved at some point, but we'll start with that. Keep it simple.
Yeah, 4 laps is going to be fun for these drivers because a track of this size, quarter mile in nature. I mean, Ari, we talked that drivers usually get 2 laps at, Texas, Atlanta, Chicago, Daytona, all those tracks that the tires have a couple of laps to come up to temperature. Here, these drivers are clicking off laps. Best time right now on the board by Josh Kanata, sub 13 seconds. So that those 4 laps are going to go by in a hurry.
Yeah, they absolutely will. And Josh Kanata with that lap time, and even Nolan Milnes in P2. Not sure how those 2 drivers have lap times that are that much better than the rest of the field, but if that's a sign of things to come, this field is in trouble if those 2 are that much faster than everyone else. But I got a feeling there was maybe some shenanigans at play. There usually is in these practice sessions for these more laid-back events out here. So we'll see how it goes. I know for a good chunk of practice, Jamie Walker's time had been the one to beat that 13.520. So be keeping my eyes on the 88 car out here tonight. But of course, when you come to the shortest track on the schedule, you can't help but take a look at some of the short track names that you expect to go out there and perform on. So, I mean, outside of Jamie Walker, Tom, if I'm being honest, I'm looking up and down the field right now. I was really kind of hoping we would see an appearance from Brian Zimmerman. That was one name that came to mind, but at the moment, not here in the session. So I don't know. Give me the 88 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. With the way that this race is going to unfold, Ari, over the next 150 laps, I don't know that you can. I say you probably pick up a 20-sided die, just like you would at Talladega and Daytona, and that could determine the outcomes out here tonight. Tonight, a couple of relief drivers, maybe filling in for your favorite driver. Nicholas Sasek makes an entry in. Matt Semple unable to make tonight's race. Zachary Wake, the winner back at Daytona, race number 1 of the All-American Racing League, not here this evening, being replaced by Chris Carroll in the 51. Oliver Kinney, Kyle Wellman, and Brian Troy all replacing some additional drivers.
All right, there we go. So a good little mix and match of drivers who were in the top 20 in points and eligible, that is, and drivers who didn't make the cut but got a chance to be a fill-in for some last-minute drops. I tell you what, normally the length of race that we're going to have here would fly by in the blink of an eye, you would think, given how short this track is, given how fast the lap times are, but I don't know, Tom. Do you think this is going to be one of those events where these drivers just can't get away from one another and we're piling up the incidents?
Well, I mean, we only have 19 cars out on the track, Ari, but we're only at a quarter-mile track, right? I think at some point we will likely see a long green flag run. We'll probably see some issues to start the race. We'll probably see some drivers maybe overshooting their corners. Very easy to do here. But I think at some point we're going to see a long green flag run, and we'll see when that may happen, because I would imagine drivers don't have any issues on fuel. but they don't have any additional tires, so they also need to take care of that.
Yeah, that's going to be a big factor that comes into play as the session kicks over to qualifying here. Is these drivers, they are finishing the race on the set of tires that they start the race on, so you're going to have to take care of those tires the whole way through, but more than anything, you are going to want to avoid locking those tires up and getting caught in any spins at any point, because if you flat spot those tires, if you get that handling out of whack, you are stuck with it for the entire event.
We are now 9 days away from March 1st, and Cody Gibson, in a familiar Christmas paint scheme, is rolling out here in the number 7, familiar colors for Cody Gibson. Remember, drivers have 4 qualifying laps out here. Currently got about 12 drivers putting down their opening times.
Cross the line to start the second time lapped for Cody Gibson. The first one's going to be a 13.915, and I tell you what, I like that these drivers get 4 laps to kind of get in there and make it count, because it does take a minute for the tires to get heated up to a comfortable temperature, and at a very, very short and very flat track like this, especially under the lights, you know, the conditions aren't very good for grip, so give these drivers enough time to get a lot of heat built into them. That's going to be the third time around right there. Gibson currently sitting P2. We'll see what this final lap has in store.
At the top of the board, Nolan Milnes just completed his 4th lap and currently holds the provisional pole out here this evening in the 1 machine, as that's going to hold Cody Gibson's going to complete both of his laps. Driver of the number 51, not a name we see out here on a Saturday night very often, but Chris Carroll makes a start out here tonight in the All-Star race.
Looks like Chris is setting up this final lap, the 4th and final lap, with that really high entry out of turn 4 on lap 3, trying to get all he can get right here. We'll see where the 51 can put that Camaro across the line. It's still, nope, it's going to be P2, jumps up a little bit late. We'll jump over to Larry Bell in the 43. We'll see what that purple Camaro can do.
You know what, Arie, I think a race like this out here tonight, I think it's got the 43 written all over it. Just stay calm, stay collected, keep that car in one piece, and you may find some sly guys up at the front of the field at the end of tonight's race, and Larry certainly fits that mold.
Yeah, I can certainly see it for the 43 of Larry Bell. Gabriel Ngoli in the 55 right here. It's been a driver who's kind of been, I want to say, a little underrated this season. That 55 has been very solid week in and week out. He hasn't been the flashy driver. He hasn't been going up there getting wins, but kind of been easy to overlook. But you got to be careful, because that 55, it's only a matter of time.
4 laps done for the driver, the number 38, the winner of a couple of races this season, Christopher Norris. He's going to hold 11th in his qualifying position. Now that's going to leave us with a couple of drivers remaining here. Jackson West, the only current driver out on track right now.
All right, we'll see what the 76 can do. Going to come across the line to complete lap number 2. That jumps the 76 up to P12. As we jump on board here for the conclusion of the 3rd lap, Jackson West getting into the corner a little deep on that one. A little bit of a late exit right here, trying to get the wheel straightened out before he hammers on the gas. He'll jump up to P11. We'll see what lap 4 has in store.
You can see just how short these straightaways here are, and this is just a single solo car qualifying run. When you got somebody to your inside or to your outside, it's almost like you're going around this track. You don't have a second to breathe. 4 laps done for Jackson West is going to sit him just outside the top 10 as they run right now. Josh Kanata, first time by, is good enough for 9th.
All right, got a new color on that 16 machine. He likes to do this week in and week out. You never know what base color or pattern you're going to get on that Toyota Supra. Always fun to keep an eye out for it. So we'll see what Josh can do right here, as he's got 2 laps in the bank already. Currently sitting P9. Be curious to see what happens on the last couple of laps here, as he looks to set up his 4th and final lap with a good exit out of 4.
Nolan Milnes still at the top of the speed charts as they run right now. Chris Carroll still in second. Cody Gibson, earlier qualifiers in this session, are still the top 3 as they run. Josh Kanata going to finish 3 out of his 4 laps, and that's going to move us over to the driver, the number 30, Matthew Pavlik.
All right, Pavlik in the 30, going to come around 3 and 4 for the final time, and we'll see what driver 30 has at the line. Currently sitting P11 on the board with that qualifying effort. That brings us to the final driver to go out and make a qualifying attempt. It's driver 42, Kyle Wellman.
All right, we'll see where the Chevy Camaro plants out here tonight. First time by for Kyle Wellman, going to be slowest on the board, as he's going to click off another lap time here in about 2 seconds, and that's not going to be any faster for the 42.
No, I'm wondering what the 42 is doing. He might just be trying to drag the brakes a little bit, build up some heat in the tires for that final attempt. Coming to the line right here. This is going to start lap 4. We'll see from on board the 42 right here what Kyle Wellman can do. Currently last place on the timing charts. This lap looks to be pretty decent. Oh, he's just going to pull over. So perhaps an intentional move to start at the back of the grid, Tom, do you think?
Perhaps. I mean, it also could be that drivers were told that they had to put in a qualifying time here for one of the rules in the special all-star event out here tonight. Not a rule typically throughout the season, but perhaps in this one-off fun event, perhaps they were mandated to put down a time.
Could very well be the case. Well, that's every single one of the 19 drivers here in our field tonight. We've still got a handful of minutes left before the qualifying session rolls on over to the race. So I suppose no better time than the present to announce the fact that we do indeed have a little bit of an inversion that we can go ahead and take care of right now, Tom. They actually gave us the power, you and I, up here in the booth to invert a certain number of these drivers after they had put their qualifying times in. So at the moment, Nolan Milnes is top of the board. Chris Carroll, P2, Cody Gibson, Jamie Walker, Tanner Marr. That's your top 5. However, I'm going to pull up a little bit of a wheel to spin right here. I think I got this ready. There we go. We can pull that up on screen. And we've got every position in here, 1 through 20. We don't actually have 20 drivers here, so we'll just hope it doesn't land on 20. But we get to spin this wheel and decide how many of these drivers are going to get inverted. Here's how it works for those of you guys watching out at home. I'm going to spin this wheel. If this wheel lands on, for example, 10th, that means 1st through 10th are going to invert their positions for the start of the race. The pole sitter goes back to 10th. 10th place becomes the pole sitter. That's how it's going to work for whatever number we land on. It could be 2 people getting inverted. It could be the entire field of 19. What do you say, Tommy? You ready?
Let's spin it, Arie, and let's see where we place this inversion out here tonight in the All-Star race.
All right, we'll get that wheel spinning, and let's see. Why don't we go ahead and invert? Oh my God. It landed on 20. We're inverting the whole field. We are inverting the entire field because it landed on 20, and we have 19 drivers. So, you know what? Not too shabby. Not too shabby, but I am glad I'm not race control.
They say if you're going to do it, just go ahead and do it, right? So
yeah,
that means that pole sitter Nolan Milnes is going to be starting.
That's right.
Shotgun on the field, and Kyle Wellman going to be moving up. Brian Troy going to be starting on the outside of row number 1. And everything you see there on the screen, flip it because it's going away in a minute.
Oh boy, that's probably the best possible outcome to be honest with you. After all of that shenanigans, after all those shenanigans that we saw in qualifying, I guess Kyle Wellman in the 42, that's going to pay off. He's going to start from pole alongside Brian Troy in the 27. I think we might just have to read the starting order backwards because I don't think there's any way it'll show up correctly for us on our overlays. That puts Mark Arthur on row 2 alongside Nicholas Sasick. We've got Oliver Quinley in row 3, joined by Christopher Norris. We've got Jackson West and Alex Fuller making up row 4. Row 5 will be Matthew Pavlik and Ryan Rose.
All right, I'm not going to try the rows because I'm going to mess it up. But Josh Kanata and Gabriel Ngoli going to be starting outside the top 10. Row 6. Joseph Klein and Larry Bell get inverted back to row number 7. Tanner Marr, Jamie Walker make their way to row number 8. Cody Gibson, Chris Carroll, and then Nolan Milnes. Nolan Milnes going to be going to the back of the field starting 19th out here this evening.
Man, hate to see that if you are Nolan Milnes, but we'll see. It's a long race. There's twists and there's turns at every corner, and these drivers are in for quite the time, to put it mildly. Tell you what, we are in the final 10 seconds of this qualifying session wait, and we will get ourselves jumped on over to the race session. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an additional pace lap or two so that race control can figure out the correct starting order before we get ourselves going under green flag conditions here. But we'll give it a second.
Hey,
We'll let all these drivers grid up, and we'll see.
Ari, we were asking before if we were going to get a flame going on that.
Oh, we did.
On the pylon up there. We got a flame at the top of the LA Coliseum right now.
That's a bit more than a flame. That is a bonfire up there.
Hope they got some fire extinguishers on hand. But the field getting lined up behind the iRacing.com pace car now. They're going to line up immediately based on how they qualified, and then drivers will do a manual inversion here over the next lap or two. So we'll pull up the timing tower once it looks like everybody is in the right order, and we will begin our hunt for 150 laps of racing out here tonight.
All right, got nearly every driver on the grid. This might be a pretty decent camera to watch everyone try and figure out what position they need to get themselves up into. And I don't know what. It's a pretty narrow track, Tom. I think I've been down there in the car once or twice before. It's not easy to maneuver around there. These drivers have to invert every single one of themselves. What do you think the odds are that we get a little bit of contact here before the race even starts?
No, never. You could see some of these drivers already starting to pull off, and we're going to give them a second here or two. We'll get the field lined up the way that they should be out here tonight. Ari, something that we kind of glossed over while drivers are doing this inversion here. Drivers only have the tire sets that they are starting on out here tonight. 150 laps at this quarter-mile track. Not a long race in terms of mileage, but it's a lot of wear on the right front. And if you go for a spin once, it's going to make for a long night.
Oh, it absolutely will. Tell you what else was about to make for a long night. That was if the pace car was about to lap Nolan Milnes there, because everybody is taking all the time in the world to get figured out on where they need to get. That pace car is flying right now. That pace car probably would have qualified in the top 10 if you ask me. All right, looks like these drivers are getting it figured out. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. That pace car's still close to lapping a couple of these drivers. We'll see how many laps we had to tick off. It looks like Kyle Wellman found his way up to P1 right there. Getting these rows doubled up a little bit. Oh, near contact on the front straightaway.
All right, looks like the field is maybe going to get one additional lap here based on the visual of it right now. And then we should be set to go racing out here this evening. But if I'm a driver out here tonight, my main focus over the first 100 laps is just to keep taking care of these tires, because that will cause a long evening for you.
I think that's got to be the biggest thing that these drivers are thinking about, because I mean, you could go up there, you could try to have the track position, you could try to be quick, you could try and set the pace, but you don't know what kind of chaos is going to ensue in this race. There are inversions, cautions coming out can cause craziness, there's trivia that's going to happen, so don't even worry about going up there and trying to lead laps, trying to have the track position, because that's all going to get thrown out the window at some point, more or less. So just keep that car in one piece, keep those tires underneath you.
Absolutely, and I don't know if this benefits more of the pole sitter and the front row, Kyle Wellman, Brian Troy, or if it benefits drivers like Nolan Milnes and Chris Carroll, who are starting in the back, who, I mean, they can go a lap down very quickly here, right? But I don't know if it's going to benefit either one of those two drivers significantly more than the other.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see more than anything if we get a really bad accordion effect here with the faster drivers needing to come up through the field, and all the slower drivers from qualifying at the very least being up towards the front. You know, will that difference be noticeable enough that we end up having some issues potentially with contact with incidents on corner entry, especially with those faster drivers at the back? They've got to be pretty patient at the start of this race.
All right, lights are off on top of the pace car. We'll see if it makes a hard left-hand turn down this time. Looks like everybody is where they should be. Pace car is going to stay out one additional lap here, it looks like, and make sure everybody is exactly where they need to be. Maybe race control going over some driver information here. before we take the green flag here tonight.
Oh, we got contact. We do got contact before the green flag flies. There we go. I spoke it into existence. So sorry, All-American Racing League drivers. This is not the first time I've commentator cursed this field. But the 21 of Nicholas Sasek goes around right there. Oh my. It looks like that was the lap the pace car pulled off too. They're going to have to bring the pace car back out. I'll tell you what, let's see if we can't. Oh, looks like Nicholas Sasek is back up here. I was going to queue up a replay. We might be going green in a second. One more time around by the looks of it. We're going to pull up our scoring tower right here just so everyone at home can see the new running order after qualifying. And it looks like we are about 10 laps in to the session tonight. All right, pace car is going to take that hard left-hand corner. And Kyle Wellman in the 42 is going to have control on the start right here. Green flag is officially out. Brian Troy in the 27 gets a good launch on the outside. Nearly gets moved. And into the wall goes the 27. Hard on exit. He's going to have some right front suspension damage. Is Brian Troy. We are still under green as everyone tries to figure out where they need to get. Everyone's single filing out towards the front of the field. And the first battle side by side a little further back, it's going to be Alex Fuller. And, oh, we're going 3 wide. Pavlik in the 30 cents at 3 wide. That is going to hurt teammate Jackson West on the outside of 76. We keep it green. Got sideways, but got pushed in the right direction. These cars are already beaten and banging. There is damage on just about every single one. Or half of these machines, I should say. We see the 78 of Ryan Rose right here. Up at P6 at the moment with some front-end damage, trying to chase down the 21 of Sasek. All the while, Kyle Wellman in the 42. Nothing but clean track ahead. And that 42, if I had to wager, can already see the back of the field. That's going to be the 27 of Brian Troy, who had that incident there on lap 1. Cody Gibson just ahead. Those drivers are going to have to start thinking about the fact that they might go a lap down if they're not careful. We'll jump back here a little further back to just outside the top 5. And, oh, we've got a yellow.
And, Ari, that shows just how fast these drivers make laps around here. So, looks like Jackson West and Jamie Walker involved in an incident on the exit of turn number 2. Let's get keyed up here and see if we can find out. Already see some damage on the rear end of the 88, but this is going to start in front of them. It's going to start with the 76. And visually, I couldn't see who was in front of the 76, but that's where it started.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a classic accordion effect right here. And this is going to happen as the 76 gets into the back of Josh Kanata. He checks up, and then it's just one driver into the next. Nobody can react fast enough. They're hitting each other in the rear bumpers until a couple of them go around. And that was our race leader going around these two right there. So I do believe Jamie Walker and Jackson West are going to find themselves a lap down at this point in the race. 1, maybe 2 laps.
Let's see if we can't grab a quick look before they do this. Let's go on board here with Tanner Marr, who had a very close call here, but I do believe he's going to make it through unscathed. Tanner says, excuse me.
All right. And we do have caution period trivia during tonight's event. I know that one is out of our hands, but race control under each of these yellows, it is my understanding, will be spinning a wheel and asking whichever position the wheel lands on a trivia question about the All-American Racing League this season. If they get it right, I think nothing happens if they get it right, but if they get it wrong, that driver, the one ahead and the one behind, they all go to the rear of the field.
While we wait for the driver trivia, Arie, I've got a trivia question for you. What year did Buc-ee's get founded?
I've sat foot in a Buc-ee's one time ever, and you're asking me when it was founded.
1982.
82. Okay, that's later than I would have thought. Anyway, we're back to green. I'm not sure if we got the trivia or not, but Kyle Wellman in the lead of the race, and we are 3 wide for position 3. The yellow flag is out already, and oh my goodness, we've got 3-4 cars around out of turn 2 right there.
Larry Bell involved in this one. Chris Carroll involved in this one. More drivers getting caught up in early race incidents out here this evening. Let's take a look at caution number 2 of the event. Looks very similar to what we saw a moment ago. This time it involves Nolan Milnes, Cody Gibson, Tanner Marr goes for a spin, Larry Bell, and Chris Carroll.
Yeah, and the getting into other drivers' rear bumpers and just pushing them into the next driver, that kind of domino effect, that just kept happening all throughout that incident right there. It was just, it happened, it caused the incident, it kept happening after the incident. And this is right here, a pretty good view. You could just see, you know, there's only so much real estate, right? And on a track this small, trying to get into the corner, trying to make it work, trying to stay close to the drivers that you're battling for position, it's a tall task. You know, it's a lot harder than it looks on this track in particular. It's a very tricky one, that's for sure.
2 cautions in so far this evening. We do know that we have 1 stage coming. Stage is going to be between lap number 40 and lap number 80. Undetermined as to when that will happen. Or excuse me, lap 40 to lap 60. Lap 40 to lap 60, we will have 1 guaranteed stage out here this evening, but at the front of the field as they run right now, Kyle Wellman, Christopher Norris still at the front of the field.
All right, we'll see a couple of drivers taking their wave around from that yellow right there. Row 2, it's going to be made up of Mark Arthur and Oliver Quinney. Row 3, Ryan Rose and Nicholas Sasek. That's your top 6 at the moment. Drivers further back still trying to figure out where they need to be, how they need to align themselves.
So
Right,
I didn't want to interrupt you guys while you were doing your discussions. Yes, we have 2 trivia questions. They got the first question correct. Second question was incorrect, but it was P19, so he already was back there. So no EOLs handed out.
All right, well there we go. Thank you,
I'm
race
doing
control.
the wheel spin within like 10 seconds.
Okay, good to know. We are back to green. Kyle Wellman gets the launch. Going to bring Mark Arthur in the 12 along with him. Going to try to take over P2 is driver 12. Going to have to work past Christopher Norris to do it. Gets the 42 in the rear bumper, but we've got more issues further back in the field. Just like that.
And that means we got another spin, boys.
All right, let's cue up the replay.
Well, you've got that going. The wheel spin landed on 5th position.
5th position, that's going to be Ryan Rose in the 78 by the looks of it. We'll get one more replay right here. It looks like this has just kind of been the tale of the night up to this point, Tom. Just these accordion effects just heading all the way back. The one gets into 27, 76 is there, the 51, the 43. Nobody's got anywhere to go. You got walls on both sides. You got, 3 lanes.
All right, my little wheel said spot number 5, so Ryan Rose, you got another question.
right, we will wait on word of the 78's fate for the trivia question under this, the third yellow of the evening, as we work lap 21.
That is incorrect. The correct answer was Josh Kanata. So that means Oliver and Gabriel, you guys are going to the back, as well as Ryan.
There we go. 3 drivers getting bit by the trivia bug, and that will shuffle up the running order just a little bit more. Drivers 41, 78, and 55 to the rear. All the while, lights are still on for the pace car. Kyle Wellman leads. Mark Arthur in P2. Christopher Norris and now Matthew Pavlik will make up row number 2 ahead of Nicholas Sasick and Josh Kanata.
Lights are extinguished on the iRacing.com pace car, signaling to the drivers we're going back green flag racing this time. Pace car makes its way out of turn number 2 around this quarter-mile short track. Kyle Wellman, Mark Arthur, I mean, I guess they're not hating the invert right now, Arie?
No, I mean, it's playing out pretty well for those two. They just got to hope
A Word document
that the trivia does not
Very
land
quick.
on 1, 2, or 3. All right, green flag is
Green
back out.
flag is back out. In unison, green flag is back out here at the LA Coliseum, working lap number 24. Kyle Wellman's able to pull away by about a half a car length by the time they make it halfway down the backstretch. But second place is up for grabs. Chris Norris is on the inside of the 12, looking to advance a spot up here. One of the drivers that started towards the rear of the field took advantage of the invert, and looks like he's going to be able to make that pass on the 12 of Arthur. Directly behind them, we got Nicholas Sasick, and also another yellow flag. Looks like issues for Alex Fuller this time.
All right, yellow flag is out yet again, and issues for the Scooby-Doo
Steve
machine.
spin wheel. P8. P8.
All right, looks like that's going to be Tanner Marr getting the trivia question as we queue up the replay right here. Got some three-wide action just ahead. Oh, we've already got the 30 car parked on the track. This is actually the 30, not the 45. Go ahead and queue up another replay right here.
Halfway down the backstretch here, Matt's kind of running by himself, going to lock up the rear tires on the entry here. This is about, is there a definition of a clean wreck, Arie? This is about the cleanest wreck that we've seen so far. He just slides up out of the way, and most of the field going to find their way underneath the 30, but some damaged tires for the 30, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's as good as you're going to get in terms of a clean wreck right there. Didn't even slide the tires all too bad. And a reminder for those watching at home this evening, these drivers, they do not get to change their tires for this event. We are 27 laps in, and these drivers have to finish the race on the same set of tires that they started with.
One driver on pit road as they sit right now, Brian Troy, with some significant damage. I'm going to presume this is from the last incident caution flag, because he took a lick of a hit on the exit of turn number 2, and he's going to be multiple laps down and likely out of contention for a good finish out here tonight. But lights are out, and looks like Kyle Wellman, Christopher Norris still up in the front. Tanner Marr still holds 8th. That tells me it sounds like he knows his things.
Would appear to be the case as the pace car pulls off. Kyle Wellman in control still up to this point in the race. Going to get the launch right there. Chris Norris starts P2. We are 3 wide with some issues a little further back. Can we get through turn 1 clean? A bump to the back of Nolan Milnes in the 1, but everyone makes it through. So far, so good.
Either somebody got a really good start there or somebody had a really bad start. One of the two happened, and I'm not sure which, but we were 3 wide by the time we got to the start and finish line with Nolan Milnes, Chris Carroll, Gabriel Goli back there a little bit. Focus back up here for the battle for second. Mark Arthur and Chris Norris, these drivers have been fighting for the majority of the green flag laps out here tonight. Now Mark Arthur on the inside of the 38, looking to gain that spot back that he lost a few ago.
Looks like Mark Arthur has the position. The 38 is going to be under fire from Joseph Klein in the 5, looking to move himself up in the running order. He's not going to get that position right there. We move further back to another one of our closer battles. Jamie Walker coming up through the field after getting bit by the inversion at the start of the race. Jamie Walker is now up inside of the top 10 again, battling to the outside of teammate Larry Bell.
Big shot for Oliver Quinney back there in the 41. Looks like Nolan Milnes gave him a little bit of a shot on the entry into turn number 1 back there. Everybody's going to come through without issue. We got the 21 and Nicholas Sasek around on the front stretch.
All right, that's going to be our 5th caution of the evening for Sasek in the 21. He puts that Camaro in reverse. And I'm not sure why at this point he could have gotten turned around.
Well, we'll stay right here and figure out how this unfolds, because I think there is an opportunity or two to get that car going in the right direction. But let's take a look at the replay here of what happens with the 21.
He's going to lose it on corner exit. Maybe a little too much in the gas. Just spun up the rear tires. And down towards the inside wall.
But this is the part here, Arie, that makes things... You could see Nicholas Sasek there right about where the headlights of the pace car are. Maybe trying to stay on the lead lap here, but the field is frozen at the time of caution.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. This feels like a scene out of Talladega Nights. Certainly a new one. Out of the 21 right there. But either way, under caution for the 5th time this evening. And up at the front, nothing has changed after the inversion. Kyle Wellman still in control of this race. Positions just behind have been shuffling here or there. But I tell you what, there's very few clean race cars left, even at this point, 37 laps in.
We see the 21 up here, maybe being told that he needs to stay behind the pace car, or waiting on the... I don't really know.
I'm not sure. I can't say that I'm aware of what's going on with driver 21. Bit of an interesting situation there, but nonetheless, drivers are going to get doubled up one more time. The 42 and the 12, they're going to share the front row. Row 2 is going to be made up of Christopher Norris and Joseph Klein. Row 3, Josh Kanata and Tanner Marr. We're just about
Looks
to
like
enter...
the lights are still on here for the pace car, so we're got at least one additional yellow flag lap here. I would imagine they would extinguish this time by. A couple of drivers who have made their way up here from their qualifying efforts here, Arie. I realized that we had the inversion and where they started is not really where they started, but Josh Kanata, Tanner Marr, Jamie Walker, all cars that are inside the top 10 right now. A couple of them up from their starting positions.
Yeah, certainly a couple of drivers, a handful making the most out of the situation. Been picking up the pieces where they can. Couple good mentions right there. Pace car's going to pull off. We've got the green flag in the air for Kyle Wellman's going to get that launch down into turn number 1. And issues for Nolan Milnes. We're still under green. And as such, the battle resumes towards the front. We've got a bit of a stack, a bit of an accordion effect back here. Everyone's going to get through it. And the first battle is for P3 on the track. That's Joseph Klein to the outside of Josh Kanata.
Kanata down to the inside, but very easy to lose 1 or 2 or 3 or more positions here if Joseph Klein is not able to protect the inside. He's going to get passed by the 16 of Kanata, and for the time being, he's got a little bit of daylight in between him and the 6th place running car of Tanner Marr. Cody Gibson, after being involved in a couple of incidents in the opening laps, he's rebounded back up to 7th, though not with a clean car. He's got some damage on that 7.
Mark Arthur going to overcook it into turn 3 right there. Going to lose a little bit of time to the 38 in P2. That 12 car has been getting very aggressive on corner entries. We have another yellow on track, and who is it for?
This is the brake caution. This is not for incident.
All right, there we have it. Thank you, race control. This is the stage brake, which was not scheduled to come out on any one particular lap, but rather, oh, we have an issue under yellow.
Oh, we
All
may
right.
have more issues.
We may.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not great.
All right, Tom, walk us through it.
Yeah, we're trying to get there. Nolan Milnes, so directly behind him on the entrance to turn number 3. Now, I'd be interested to see where the yellow flag actually comes out here. So Barney's got the yellow flag out already. He's going to make contact with the 51, who looks like he is slowing up for the incident caution here, and then just some more caution, or some more contact, rather.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
So
my
from
goodness.
my perspective, on the previous restart, it looked like the 1 had gotten to the inside of the 51 before the line because of some contact that had happened. And then on that restart, before this caution just came out, the 51 did the same, but spun the 1 out. This, to me, looks like a retaliation incident, if I had to guess.
There we go. Word from race control on that one. Lights are still on with the pace car out here. There they go. Now they're going to cut off, so. It's an interesting situation that has presented itself here, Tom.
A couple of drivers on pit road. Chris Carroll, the 51, the driver, the 1, Nolan Milnes. Looks like he's still going to be out on an active track right now, though a lap or more down. We wait to find out exactly where he is, but pace car down and away. The stage caution done. Kyle Wellman's going to bring us back to the green flag to begin lap number 51 of 150, a third of the way through tonight's event. Christopher Norris going to get maybe stuck up on the outside here as Mark Arthur tries to poke a nose of that Supra on the inside.
Oh, we've got an accordion effect a little further back. Saw that one coming from a mile away, and one of the drivers who had done such a good job towards getting back up towards the front after the initial inversion. Tanner Marr is going to get bit by that one. We'll go and queue up the replay right here, and this is going to start a couple of drivers back, I believe, with the 41. Getting into the 88, gets into the 4, almost collects the 16 of Kanata. And the 4 and the 88, they're going to get pinned up against the outside wall.
All right, so it's piece 16 getting asked the question. So Tanner Marr again.
Take a look from on board the 41.
Yeah, originally it looked like Jamie maybe just overdrove it, but I mean, there's contact from the 41 to the back of the 88. Let's take a bigger look at this before we assign any other sort of thoughts right here. So I'd be interested here to see the 78, who is directly behind the 41. Doesn't look like there's going to be contact from Ryan Rose in the 78. It is going to start with the 41 into the 88, and Tanner Marr is the driver that goes around off the nose of the Mountain Dew Mobile.
Can't catch a break because now Tanner's got to answer the trivia as well after getting involved in that incident. So a 4 car has had a busy night up to this point as we are working now lap 54.
And he did get the question correct. So no EOL.
All right. At least Tanner's got that going for him. I tell you what, this has worked out pretty good. You're that front row of the 42 and the 38. Those guys have been pretty removed from all of the danger here tonight. Kyle Wellman, Christopher Norris are going to continue to lead as the green flag is once again out, and the 42 gets that jump to hold on to the lead, but Chris Norris looks to defend on the inside. Both of the race leaders are going to get turned. The entire field is a parking lot. I'm not sure what to say,
still trying
Tom.
to get going in the right direction. Alex Fuller finally gets rolling. Nicholas Sasek, Jamie Walker back here, but this started in position number 2 on the restart, Arie, and on a restart there's not many places to go, and I think you just saw the prime example of how that plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to have to go all the way back. We're going to have to go all the way back to the race start, and we're going to keep our eyes on Chris Norris and the 12 of Mark Arthur. And that is going to be where this starts. So we can get a little bit of a zoomed out view. We'll get A slow-mo as the 38 dives down to cover off the inside line. Mark Arthur is going way faster than the 38 at that point, gets into the back. That's going to send both of our race leaders around. Now, this is where it gets tricky. There is no room on the racing surface for anybody to go anywhere. And quite literally, the entire field will bunch up at this point. And funny enough, Tom, the two drivers who drive away are the first two that got spun.
So here's something that I think is worth talking about, Arie. And you mentioned that the 12 was going a lot faster than the 38 here. He was, but I don't think he didn't overdrive this corner, right? Christopher Norris is still on an angle by the time they make contact trying to come down. This is kind of like what you would, how they would write a police report if you get into an accident in a parking lot, right? Who actually hit who and where on the vehicles. This was maybe a little bit of an overzealous attempt by the 38 to come down, and because he had to slow down more, that just plants the front nose of the 12 into the back of the 38.
Yeah, well said in that case. But my oh my, there are certainly no more spotless race cars in the field at this point. There might have been one or two.
About those tires, Arie.
Yeah. We are not even halfway into this event, and we just had a wreck that involved literally the entire field. This ought to be fun. Pace car is off yet again, and Kyle Wellman, he's still in control. He's going to hold on to lead. The 38 pulls the same move, but this time it's going to work on Joseph Klein just behind.
Klein on the inside of the 12 of Mark Arthur by the time they make it down into turn number 3. Looks like Joseph Klein may be able to be door bumper clear at the start-finish line. Mark Arthur's still going to hang on. We got, looks like Brian Troy maybe going around.
Brian Troy, Jackson West in the 76. Let's go ahead and see if we can't see what happened here with driver 76. Near 3 wide, just going to get tagged by the 55 of Gabriel Goli. I think Troy's just an innocent bystander here, just has to park it, trying to avoid any more contact right there. That's a pretty standard short flat track kind of incident right there, I would say.
I'll tell you what, Arie, 19 drivers started this race, and 17 of them are still out here. So 17 of them are still trying to have a good finish out here tonight. Non-points paying event for here, but I do believe there is some cash on the line to the race winner. Want to say it was $100 to the race winner. So everybody going for some cold hard cash out here tonight.
That they are, and we are currently working the 9th caution of the evening. Race leader remains Kyle Wellman in the 42. Though it had been smooth sailing up until caution number 8 on the evening. Got a little bit of damage on that race car, but I don't think that's going to matter at a track like this. And I
see if the flame is still burning up here.
Oh,
Arie.
it is.
It's.
We can throw some race cars in that fire at this point.
Light's probably going to go out this time by. It looks like they're actually going to stay on, so we'll get another lap or two of yellow flag conditions here. But Kyle Wellman, Chris Norris. So it'll be interesting here to see if Chris Norris attempts to get back down. He's got a 50% rate of it working. The first time we saw him go off the nose of the 12 of Mark Arthur. Last time by, he was able to slide in front of the 5 of Joseph Klein. So we'll see if we see the same move from the outside front row.
Tell you what, there's one driver who's catching my eye, creeping up into the picture, third on the bottom. That's going to be that blue on blue Chevy Camaro. That's Cody Gibson in the 7, driver who got hit by that initial inversion after qualifying, went to the back. He's got some damage on that race car. He's been through it, but now he is on that 3rd row on the inside, looking to pick up a little more on this restart.
All right, lights are out, pace car down, green flag up in the air, and green flag waving once again. Guess it's, there he goes. He's finally waving it. Kyle Wellman going to bring us back down into turn number 1, as he has done so for the 9 previous restarts here, working lap number 69, about to begin lap number 70. Battle up for grabs. Second place, Joseph Klein on the inside of the 38 gives second place to Klein at the line.
Klein's got P2, P3 is going to be Chris Norris, and now the 7 and the 12 will do battle a little further back. Ryan Rose gets a little sideways. He's going to get that corrected as the battle is still on for P4. Mark Arthur is going to pull ahead on corner exit right there, try and nail turns 1 and 2 right here. He will, and that is going to secure that position ahead of Cody Gibson.
That's going to allow him to fall into the 4th place running position as they go right now. Top 5 is rounded out by the driver in the number 7, Cody Gibson, involved in some incidents early in tonight's race. Josh Kanata currently up in 7th. Ryan Rose lost a spot or 2 on this most recent restart. But for the first time out here tonight, Ari, we see a little bit of separation within the field.
That we do, and I think these drivers are going to be pretty relieved to see that we are able to get a little bit of green flag racing going on right here as we jump on board with 4th place on track. Mark Arthur in the 12 trying to chase down Chris Norris in the 38. Gets into that inside wall just a little bit, trying to make it happen, and you can see just how little on throttle time you really have.
Yeah, you can see just how fast the closing rate is on these cars. I mean, we've got Cody Gibson directly behind the number 12, currently in 4th, and the field is just stacked here. But if we run these laps, I mean, Kyle Wellman, let's take a look here. Kyle Wellman is only about a second, 2 seconds off of catching his first lap vehicle.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting once or if that happens, because we've got an issue with Nicholas Asick in the 21. Got some more damage on the front end of that Chevy Camaro. Let's go ahead and queue up the replay. This is going to be caution yet again. I want to say caution number 10. Oh, just gets... I think we're going to need another replay on that one.
Let's step this back here another second or two. Did see the 88 and the 21 nearby each other. We'll find out exactly if there's contact here. Let's actually go on board here with the 88. There's definitely going to be contact there. I don't know that Jamie overdrove that corner. From the initial looks of it, it didn't look like he did. It looked like maybe the 21 was still correcting from getting loose. Yeah. Let's try to find this here real quick. That seems a little early to be braking going into turn number 1. Obviously, he's got some handling issues on that 21 from previous incidents out here tonight. This one is just going to add to the stockpile of it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the 21 goes around.
I would tend to agree. That didn't seem like... At first glance, it seemed a little egregious out of the 88, but that was not the normal braking zone for corner entry right there. So I think if you're in Jamie Walker's shoes right there, you're not expecting the car in front to slow down at that point.
Let's see if the lights are going to stay on here. They are going to stay on here. I think... Oh, you know what? They're actually going to go off, so we'll try this on the next go-around here. But lights are off on top of the pace car, as it has been for the majority of the race, since the beginning of the race, since the inversion. Kyle Wellman going to be bringing us back to the green flag. Now a new name up on the front row that we haven't seen in a while. Joseph Klein in the number 5. Christopher Norris is actually going to be on the inside of row number 2 as the lights are put out once again.
Yep, lights are going to put out to extend 1 lap just to make sure the entire field can double up in time. That additional lap needed just to make sure the field can bunch up and nobody is put at a disadvantage. Lights are officially out now as we work lap 81 out of 150 in tonight's event.
How many trivia questions do you think Dalton has written down?
Not enough.
Or at this point, are we just diving deep into the memory bank here?
I'm not entirely sure, but you know, it's on a night like this, Tom, that I'm glad
there were 24.
24? Okay.
There were 24.
We still got 14 we can burn through.
I tell you what here, driver that I
That's
think would be fun to talk to right now. Let's see if we can't grab while we have an additional lap here. Mr. Gibson, how's your night going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Riding and fit. A little bit of damage, but I think I'll survive.
All right, well, if you guys are going to go 1 to green here, just holler at us here because we can't see the pace car. But yeah, some damage on that 7. Had to start probably in the outside the top 15 tonight with the inversion. But how you feeling about these last, call it 80 laps or so?
I feel pretty good. I mean, it's hard not to hit the car in front of you and then get run over behind. So it's kind of a pick your battles.
All right, who's on your list out here tonight? Do you have a list going of drivers that maybe have wronged you in the first 83 laps?
No, I mean, we're all out here for fun, so that's all I can ask for.
That is all right, Cody. Well, lights are out. I'm gonna send you back down, and Cody giving us the polite answer out here tonight because with the damage on that 7, I know he's got some somebody out there that he's looking at. But Kyle Wellman, Joseph Klein once again into the restart zone. Good start on the inside line.
Yeah, inside line's going to get a great jump right there. Good for Chris Norris in the 38. Good for Cody Gibson in the 7. And the caution is out yet again. We've got multiple issues involved. The 27, the 45, the 88.
I think we just start dragging drivers up who are involved in incidents and just interviewing them immediately, Arie.
Yeah, at this point, that might be what it takes. Let's go and get another view right here. We're going to get this view from on board the 27 of Brian Troy.
Now, unlike what we saw a couple of laps ago with the 88 and the 21, this does seem like an overdrive from the 27 into the back of the 88. Same exact location on the track, but, I mean, the braking markers there were wildly different.
Couldn't agree more. And just like that, we are under yellow yet again. 11th caution on the evening as we work lap 88 at the line.
Looks like the Scooby-Doo machine, Alex Fuller, going to be getting a lap back to get back on the lead lap. Currently, looks like there are 14 cars with Alex Fuller back on the lead lap out of the 19 starters out here this evening. Couple of drivers, Nicholas Sasek, Brian Troy, Larry Bell, Nolan Milnes, Chris Carroll. All drivers either out or retired. Looks like Brian Troy is still rolling out here, but the other drivers may be done.
All right, lights are out on that pace car. We're doubled up yet again. Looking to get us restarted here on the front row. Kyle Wellman in the 38 of Chris Norris. We know what that 38 likes to do from P2 on these restarts. As it looks like Kyle Wellman's going to have a little bit of a connection issue. We'll see if that 42 reappears. But so far, the 42 has dropped. And that is going to give the de facto lead to Chris Norris in the 38. The 42 is still gone, so we are to assume that that internet connection dropped, unfortunately, removing the 42 from the server as the positions continue to shuffle further back.
That really played into the hands of the 38 of Christopher Norris, who was the outside front row starter right there. Drivers had to hold their positions in the row that they were assigned in the event that he did reappear, because that would create some contact there. But Christopher Norris is the beneficiary of that. Joseph Klein is up to second, and we've got a battle kind of for third here with Cody Gibson on the inside of the 12 of Arthur.
Looks like Mark Arthur in the 12 is going to get that position, put Cody Gibson in P4. The battle is on a little further back in this cluster of vehicles, the 4, the 78, and the 16. Everyone doing their best to keep off of one another in the corners, but that closing rate is no joke. We've seen it bite these drivers time and time again up to this point in this event. But right now, we are working lap 95.
It's a pretty nice... we haven't taken a real look at that 41 car yet out here tonight. One of the relief drivers coming into tonight's race for the All-American Racing League. Not a color you would typically see on a Red Bull Red Bull car, but it's got a nice shade of purple on there.
Yeah, that's a really nice shade of purple. Maybe the best shade of purple that there is, if you ask me, but that's just my opinion. This is actually the closest battle on track at the moment, as the 41 dives it to the inside of Kanata, and the 16 bouncing off the wall is Kanata doing everything he can in that rear bumperless Toyota Supra. He is finally going to have to give up that position to the 41. The 55's looking for a spot. What do you do if you're the 55 and there's no rear bumper to lean on?
There's your answer. If you're the 55 right here, it's difficult because you get into these sort of runs, right, Arie, where you've seen caution after caution after caution out here tonight. So mentally, in the back of your mind, all these drivers start to think, I really got to gain one spot. I got to gain 2 spots before the next restart. And a lot of times that'll attribute to how the cautions are flown, especially at a short track here. But the 55 is actually going to be losing a little bit of time here, as looks like Kyle Wellman has rejoined the server, but multiple laps down after leading the early parts of tonight's race.
Yeah, the 42, unfortunately, bit by the connection loss. 10 laps down at this point on the shortest track on the schedule. Really don't want what you want to see for the 42. But back on the track to keep making laps regardless. We're watching a battle right now between Alex Fuller and Jackson West. A battle for P12, last on the lead lap.
Alex Fuller is able to make his way around the 76 of Jackson West. A little bit of a slide on the exit of turn number 4. He's got former race leader Kyle Wellman directly in his sights, but Alex Fuller's going to go around. Not sure if he went around off the nose of the 76 or if he just got sideways.
I think there was a little bit of contact right there, but of course we'll queue up the replay once we make sure all the leaders can get through this safely, as the 45 is unfortunately going to lose a lap from this right here. It looks like everyone's kind of got it figured out more or less, and we are going to take a look at what happened here between the 76, wrong car right there. Let's get a, let's try that one more time.
Entry into turn number 1, you see the 76 a little bit lower than the 45. You see the rotors glowing on the 76, but definitely going to be some contact, a little bit of a lazy spin for the 45. And he's going to... That's actually pretty significant contact with the inside wall. I thought it was going to be a little bit less than what it was.
Yeah, that bounce off of that wall, that is not what you want to see for the 45. You can tell he was already struggling with the handling of that race car. Surely not going to make it too much better. But now the 45 on pit road, getting that machine serviced with the old black and orange flag, which means the 45 was told to pull off of the racing surface to get some damage repaired. And that will surely end Alex Fuller's chances at an all-star race win tonight. As it sits realistically, Tom, there are 12 drivers still in the running for that $100 cash prize at the end of it. The top 12 who are all on the lead lap at the moment, still running, still kicking, still in with a shot.
Yeah, and that's going to be drivers from Christopher Norris down to Jackson West. They were fighting for the last position on the lead lap, and now Alex Fuller down a lap or more as he is still on pit road, getting some damage fixed on that Scooby-Doo machine, and that may be night and game over for the 45 as the laps click off here in a hurry. But lights are out on the pace car, and Christopher Norris, new race leader this time, Arie, for the first time we're going to see the 38 on the front row on the inside here.
All right, here we go then, looking for that restart zone. There it is. The 38 is gone on that launch right there. It leaves the rest of the field in the dust. We've got the 12 and the 5 battling it out for P2.
Second place up for grabs as Joseph Klein's going to nose ahead by the time they exit turn number 4 at the stripe. Puts second place to Joseph Klein as he tries to shut the door once again on Mark Arthur. That window's going to open up again, but Cody Gibson a little sideways on the exit of turn number 2. He carries on without issue, but he's going to lose about 4 spots here and find himself back in 10th.
Battle still raging for P2. Mark Arthur on the inside, Joseph Klein on the outside. These drivers staying about as close as they can. Corner, entry, middle, and exit. The 12 tries to pull ahead right there. The 5's going to drive it in extremely deep. Going to get that car rotated. Try and stay pinned to the outside of the 12. He can so far.
He's able to use that momentum, but I think now it's going to be clear for the 12 on the exit of turn number 2. And now Mark Arthur's going to try to set his sights on race leader Christopher Norris. We take a look back here a little bit. Gabriel Ngoli Quinney and Jamie Walker having a moment, a little bit of a bumper tag in turns 1 and 2. Everybody comes out without an issue. That's going to move Gabriel Ngoli up to 7th.
That it is, and now we got to start thinking, Tom, at this point in the race, 115 laps in. Normally it would be sooner, but given the amount of yellow flag laps that we have had, it's kind of delayed it a little bit. But which of these drivers has been taking care of their stuff? Which of these drivers are going to start making a charge because they took care of their tires?
It's so hard to say because everybody has had something happen to them out here tonight. I feel like we haven't really said the number 5 on of Joseph Klein going around a whole lot. Ryan Rose has been quiet on his tires. Josh Kanata has been quiet on his tires. But that being said, everybody has had some sort of issue.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Jackson West in the 76 involved in this yellow, bringing this one out, just getting into the corner a little too hot, gets into teammate Matthew Pavlik's rear bumper and sends himself around. 13th caution of the evening as Chris Norris in the 38 continues to lead. We are working lap 117 out of 150. We are closing in on the end of tonight's event before too long, and I think it's at this point that these drivers got to start thinking, hey, what do I got to do to get myself up the running order? What do I got to do to get up there and have a shot? And I tell you what, you just mentioned him a second ago, Tom, but Joseph Klein in the 5, he's going to be restarting second car on the inside, which is one of the best spots to be restarting on this track based on what we've seen.
Absolutely, and we'll see if he's able to take that spot. We've seen Mark Arthur. We've really seen the battle for second be the battle all evening long on the restarts with Mark Arthur, and previously it was Christopher Norris, and then it became Joseph Klein at times. So the battle for second has been the one to watch on the restarts. In a way, though, Arie, you almost got to kind of wonder, if you don't think you're going to get a long green flag run, is it worth trying to take that second place spot? Because that's just going to put you on the outside of the following restart here.
That's a good question. And we're going to find out as the pace car pulls off right here. What can the 5 do from P3? He's trying to get the launch. They get a bit of a jump right there. Down into turn 1 we go. And the battle is on behind. The 5 is going to pull ahead for P2 right there. Mark Arthur drives it in deep, but he's going to get tagged by the 78. Sent back around, multiple drivers involved. Down on the inside. Oh, Cody Gibson gets a bad hit.
All right, Arie. While we get this queued up here, that's going to move Mark Arthur down to what looks like 5th place here. Yellow flag out for the 14th time this evening. Let's take a look here. So I saw somebody get into the side of the 12.
So the 4
Tanner
actually
Marr is
gets
shipping.
into the... Yeah.
Yeah, Tanner drove to UPS and sent that priority to the number 12 because Mark didn't do anything wrong there. He just got a little bit of help from the 78, who it came from the 4, and that's kind of been the story all night, Arie, with kind of an accordion effect.
Yeah, you could certainly say that. And the 7, wow, Cody Gibson thought he was clear. He was gassing it up, and that's just a big hit to the 55 right there.
Yeah. I tell you what, Arie, while we're under caution here, why don't we grab a second driver interview while the lights are still on, and once we get one to go, he'll have to let us know. But Tanner Marr involved in that most recent incident out here tonight. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm mad right now. I'm mad.
Oh,
I'm doing
good,
all
yeah.
right. I'm good.
Well,
it's short track racing, huh?
Your car certainly looks like it's been around a short track
Okay,
out here tonight.
I'm glad you said that. Do we have a front end? They wouldn't tell me. Do we have a front nose on here? Can you tell me that?
Is that proprietary information we withhold,
Oh,
Arie?
Tom.
I think it is.
Yes, you've got a front end. You've got more of a front end than you do a rear end. I guess I'll say that.
Okay, 10-4.
Well, Tanner, so we're going to have just about 25 laps to go. As the laps begin to tick down out here, how do you feel that you've saved your tires over the past 125 laps?
The tires, Tom, they feel great. I think we just kind of bided our time, letting everybody wreck each other. I feel like if we went down pit road right now, we'd be shocked with our tire wear because we haven't done a whole lot of laps, right? We haven't been putting a whole lot of wear and tear on them. But like you said, with the car, how it looks versus how it feels right now, I'd say when we go green here, we're probably going to go nowhere but backwards.
All right, well, outside of row number 2, that's where you're going to be starting for this next restart.
Come on,
Good luck
Tanner.
to you on this restart. You got Cody Gibson on the inside.
All right, thank you, buddy.
All right, and moving Tanner back down there. Looks like we got a couple of longest lines here on this 14th caution.
Somebody got a
evening,
trivia
and
question wrong.
Yep, Mr. Ryan Rose got it wrong.
All right.
It was how many weeks in a row was he at the top of the power rankings, and he underestimated how long he had been up there.
All right, back under green, and I am waiting for the yellow to come back out again at that restart right there, but it looks like these drivers are going to make it through. So far, so good. The top 2 make it 3 are going to get clear. That's Tanner Marr in the 4, who we just spoke to, up to P3 now on that restart as Jackson West in the 76 takes the tumble, and the 7's going to get into the 88. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, Cody Gibson has some significant damage on the front end of that car, but he's still going to roll around here, meeting minimum speed, but in a car that he's going to be putting up for auction after the end of tonight. Tanner Marr said once they went back green flag racing, he expected that 4 to go backwards in a hurry. He's actually going the opposite way. He has gained a spot here on this restart and is now putting a fight on Mark Arthur for second here, Arie.
That he is, and I tell you what, the amount of drivers who are getting loose on corner entry because those rear tires are not happy. There's just no grip. You've got to be so careful. You're trying not to get into the guy in front of you. You're trying to not get run over from behind, and you're trying to keep the rear tires planted on entry. It's such a difficult thing to balance as we watch the 5 work over the 76 right now. Closest battle on track and a battle for P5.
76 on the outside, 5 on the inside, and the 41 relief driver of Oliver Quinney looking to jump up there into possibly a top 5 running spot as it runs right now. Going to have to set up the 5, and if he wants to do that, he's going to be able to grab a spot. Jackson West going to lose 2 positions here. Is now the battle for second place starting to heat up. This is really the first time we've seen the 88 of Jamie Walker qualified well out here tonight, and for the first time we've seen the 88 find his way in contention with 17 laps to go.
That's right, Jamie Walker finally back up to where he qualified for tonight's event. Finally can see some clean air, some daylight ahead of him. He's going to get to the inside of Tanner Marr in the 4. He's going to get that position without too much hassle. Now the task is simple. Go and try to chase down the 12 and the 38. But I tell you what, Tom, Chris Norris, he has pulled 2 seconds on second place at this point, and this race is only 15 laps from being over.
And at 13 seconds a lap, that's going to be a tough task for these drivers to try to overcome here, as we have under 15 laps of racing to go. 1.8 seconds, that is the gap between race leader Christopher Norris, second place Mark Arthur. You got to go 2 seconds back before you find Jamie Walker, and it's going to be difficult for them to do. I think they're going to need some help in terms of yellow flags. Yeah,
certainly the case. The 12 is going to get out of the way of the 88. Now, that's an interesting play right there, Tom. Is the 12, do you think, hinging his bets on a caution so he can restart P3, knowing he didn't have anything for the 38 under green?
You know, I didn't even... We had mentioned it before about it being a play. And now you know that, I mean, within 10 laps to go here, you know that you're not going to drive up there, catch and pass the 38. You get a caution here, you're going to be lined up right up on the rear bumper of that 38 for what may be the final restart of the night. So no points out here tonight, Arie. I don't hate this idea.
Absolutely. There's the yellow. And I tell you what, I was watching the lap times. Jamie Walker consistently faster than Chris Norris, just not by enough to make the distance, to make the difference. And it looks like we are under yellow with about 10 laps to go.
This is the promoter flag. No incident happened.
Oh boy. Well, there we have it, Tom. The promoter flag, 10 laps to go to spice it up just when you thought this race couldn't get any spicier. Here is how it's going to shape up. Chris Norris in the 38 continues to lead this race. In P2, Jamie Walker in the 88 up to the highest position that 88 has run all evening. Mark Arthur on row 2 alongside Tanner Marr in the 4. The top 5 is rounded out by driver 5. That's Joseph Klein alongside Oliver Quinney in the 41. That is going to be our first 3 rows for the ensuing restart here for the 15th caution of the evening. Not for incidents, but rather the promoter yellow for tonight's All-Star festivities.
Kyle Wellman, the car that's driving around on the front stretch right now, getting one of his many laps back after leading so many laps. Early in tonight's race had a connection issue, probably about lap 100, and went about 10 laps down, and he's gotten a few back, but out of contention for a potential win out here tonight. Was running really well after getting the invert, landing on the entire field, but now, Arie, lights are off, and drivers know this may be their final time.
It may very well be. This may be the final time. There may be more to come. We're going to find out, but one thing is for sure. If you're Chris Norris, you got to nail this restart. Take that advantage, because these drivers are not going to be afraid to use that chrome horn for $100.
Green flag is out. Christopher Norris gets a really good start up on the inside, but Jamie Walker probably has the best start on the outside that we've seen all night. 3 wide on the backstretch for Oliver Quinney, Josh Kanata. Tanner Marr is going to go around on the entry into 3.
Before the white flag can come out in a couple laps time, the 4 goes around, and I do believe this will set us up for, Gabriel Ngoli getting a lot of damage right there. We're going to have to take a look at that replay right there, but I tell you what, Tom, this might set us up for a green-white checkered.
Exit of turn number 2 here, 3 wide, hardly works. Joseph Klein on the inside, Oliver Quinney in the middle. Tanner Marr stuck up on the outside. Tanner's going to come down here about a half a lane, just try to make his entry. There's really not even 2 workable lanes here, but they tried to make 3 work down here, and you see the result of it. The 4 going around. Gabriel Ngoli going to lock up the brakes and go around on the exit of 4 here. This looks like it's also going to be a... I guess that would be considered a separate incident, yeah.
Yeah. It would appear to be the case. Yeah, that's just one of those trying to go 3 wide on a 1 wide track. And sometimes, most of the times, that is going to result in exactly that.
All right, so no change for second place on this most recent restart. Jamie Walker still going to be on the outside of row number 1. Mark Arthur still going to be on the inside of row number 2. Last couple of times that we've seen the restarts from the 38, Christopher Norris been getting pretty good restarts. He's been able to drive away from here. We'll see if the 88 or the 12 make any sort of adjustments here in what may be the final restart of tonight, as I believe this is going to be our first green-white checkered overtime attempt. It is first of 3.
First of 3 attempts. Lights are out on that pace car. Chris Norris, Jamie Walker. That's our front row. Mark Arthur, Joseph Klein, row 2. Here we go. Pace car pulls off. Who has the restart of their life? Into the restart zone we go. It's good for the 38. The 88's going to be not clear. Does not jump down. The 12 pushes the 5 up the track, and now it's a 2-horse race.
2-horse race on the exit of turn number 4, and it's going to be Christopher Norris that sees the white flag. He's going to protect the inside, but that's going to allow Jamie Walker to get the outside and have 1 attempt at it here on the entrance of 3, Arie.
Here we go. The 88 gets the bumper into the 38, but it's not enough. Chris Norris is going to hold on across the line and win $100 in the All-American All-Star race. A fitting winner, the only driver with multiple wins on the season. 3 plus an All-Star title for Chris Norris in that 38. All right, I tell you what, Tom. Why don't we pull up the winner right now? We have got Mid Burnout, our All-Star winner, the very first All-American All-Star Chris Norris in the 38. Just mentioned it a minute ago. You're the only driver to win multiple times this season. You come out here and you win the All-Star race. Pretty fitting. Walk us through it.
Yeah. Dude, I wasn't sure, man. Like, my heart rate is still high. I don't know what it's at, but it was like 142 a little bit ago. Yeah, I was just rocking and rolling in P2, P3, just like swapping with Jamie. I'm sorry, not Jamie. Mark Arthur there, and I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. I knew we were just like short track racing according to him, so I thought eventually one of us would run into each other, but that's not what happened, luckily. I knew I had the speed to get around the 42, I think it is. But it just, I was like, I didn't want to junk him. I was just like, that's the only option, because he was really good at like just checking up in the middle of the corner to kill anyone off. So it's impossible to pass that way for me. But I just was like, all right, let's hope for the best. And I got lucky. He got disconnected from internet issues and just smooth set sailing from there. I was really hoping we would just go green, because that would make my life easy, as you know. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way in these kinds of races. So I just had to lock in. I knew the guys behind me, Mark Arthur, Jamie, were all hunting for it as well, especially Mark. I wasn't sure if he would dump me or not, but fortunately he didn't. Jamie, I was just kind of like protecting myself. Like, as you can probably see there, I was like diving for the inside. I was braking early. Like, he gave me a little bit of a bump there, but I was just like, there's a something tricky you can do to make sure you don't get spun from a bump. So I was just doing whatever I can to not get spun.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, it all worked out to perfection once you were able to get that clean air and not look back. I got a question for you. We had an interesting kind of scenario tonight in that there were no tire sets. You ended the race on what you started with. How much did that factor into things? How much of the early race did you spend managing that, and did it come into play later on?
I would say, yeah, it came into play, because I know, like, I saw some drivers when I was going green just fall off in my mirror, and then also some that would charge in forward. I was trying to manage them a little bit. I was just like going honestly like 25% throttle in the corners and in the straightaways when we were green there in like the middle pack of the run. So I wasn't too worried about it, but I was just like, hey, I'll just try to save a little bit. And I mean, it's only 150 laps. We're gonna have a bunch of caution, so there's not too much I had to worry about.
Fair enough. Well, I tell you what, you come out here, you get the All-Star title officially, one more crossed off of the list. We're going to open up the floor to you to give any haze, highs, and shout-outs to anyone you got watching.
Yeah, of course. The admins for putting this on. I think there was a little bit of a bonus today, so that was great to see. You guys for putting on the show. That way we can come back and watch every week. I did send my parents a broadcast for one, so shout out to them for watching tonight. My teammate, Joshua Kanata, he was there supporting me and trying to do what he could throughout the race, but I know he just had some bad luck, especially with that last trivia question. Sam Dyer for popping in there real quick, but also the GOATs, Dakota Moniz, also Sammy Garcia, and then Nick Crawford and his wife. She was betting on me to win, and I did not want her to do that because I did not think I would, but hey. Also, CNorrisPhoto.com. I won some money tonight, and if you want to pay me some more, I may come take out some photographs and stuff like that. Events, senior photos, portraits, race car tracks, anything. Sports, I don't care. You pay me to travel, I'll be there. And that's everything. Thank you, guys.
All right, there we go. There's our big winner on the night, Chris Norris in the 38, which brings us to our runner-up finisher, who I believe Tom has caught up with.
Second place finisher out here tonight going to be Jamie Walker. Jamie, those closing laps, so close, but going to have to settle for second out here tonight. How you doing? How was your final couple of restarts out there tonight, Jamie?
I'll tell you the truth, I needed it to stay green, but like I said, this whole race was pretty much under caution. I was great on the green flag runs, but we just got caught. Kept on getting caught up in crap, and couldn't get into it there at the end.
Yeah, Arie had pointed it out in the broadcast while Chris had about a 2-second lead on you there while we were under a little bit of a green flag run. You were actually running a little bit faster than the 38, but not enough to close that 2 seconds that was needed with just about 15 laps to go. But we did notice that you were able to, of anybody that we saw in the front row, protect that outside line and give that 38 a shot down into turn number 1 a couple of times in terms of just staying there. Anything you could have done differently, maybe down into turn number 3 to try to take that spot because the inside was so important?
Well, first of all, foremost, I'm not a dirty racer. I did give him a shot just to let him know that, I'm going to do everything I can, but I wasn't going to wreck him or nothing like that. I don't play dirty, so but I'll let him know that I was there trying.
Yep, absolutely. And you had the opportunity to do that, and you chose to come home second out here tonight in the better way than just driving down there and running them over. But Jamie, you came home second out here tonight. We're going to open up the floor. Anybody you want to say hello to back home on that Mountain Dew machine? And the floor is all yours, sir.
Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for watching this crazy race. I mean, my pit crew is going to have some work to do this car this week, get it ready for next week. But it's just, just a little bit short, but I'll try again next week, like always.
All right, Jamie. Well, we will talk to you hopefully in 1 week's time here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Going to let you go debrief on your second place finisher, and that's going to give third place Mark Arthur to Arie Heinzman.
That is right. I've got our third place finisher tonight, Mark Arthur, in the 12. Mark, you had probably one of the more interesting races out of any of the drivers out there tonight. You were up towards the front for most of the night, but man, you had so many battles with a handful of different drivers up there for second, third, and fourth. And at one point, we had the entire field turned into a parking lot right there, starting kind of up at the front of the field. Just walk us through your race and just the mayhem that was this all-star race.
I mean, it was just so tight. I hate this track for that very reason. It's so tight. And you know how route racing is. Everybody gets, a little feelings hurt when you bump them, and it's hard not to at this track. So I mean, if you're trying, you're bumping, right? So you have to hold them tight and try to keep the outside. And I don't really know what happened in that one where we all got spun. I know Chris was trying to get to Kyle, and I think he was just trying to fill that spot as quick as he could behind Kyle, and it just kind of cut my reaction time, my braking distance down, and I just got into him. But yeah, it was hectic. It was hectic to say the least. I had right front wheel damage ever since that. So, but the car, I mean, it's a short track, so it held up.
That it is, and that it was. The chaos at an all-time high. Do you think, without that wheel damage in the second half of the race right there, maybe with some longer green flag runs, do you think you had something for the guys ahead? Do you think you could have gone up there on speed? Was there anything in particular that you needed?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? I mean, I don't want to, try to guess and say that I was better than I was, because I wasn't, but I mean, looking at my tire wear wasn't too bad, so I don't know how much that wheel damage hurt me. I know at the end I had nothing for him. I was just telling Jamie, just go, and I was trying to leave Jamie as much room as I could so he could get down behind Chris and race him at the end. And had we not had that caution to 10 to go, I think Jamie might have had something for him.
All right. Well, either way, you still come home with a top 3 finish in tonight's event. We'll open up the floor to you, Mark, to save any haze highs or give any shout-outs to people you got watching.
Mostly just shout out to Tanner and Cody for putting on the league, and you guys for broadcasting it. It's top notch as normal.
All right. There we go. Congrats again on your top 3, Mark. And with that, that is our podium finishers for the All-American All-Star race. Chris Norris walking away with his 4th win on the season, 3 points and 1 All-Star race. He is collecting trophies left and right, and I tell you what, he's got to be the favorite for the big trophy, the biggest trophy of them all come season's end.
Absolutely, Arie. We see Christopher Norris getting another win out here tonight with the win. Was in the right spot when Kyle Wellman had an issue with his internet. Well, let's say, what do you say we try to grab the finishing results from tonight's race and run through your finishing order? It is not letting me grab it, Arie, so I don't know if you can help me out here, but Christopher Norris going to be the big winner out here tonight, finishes first and takes home $100 cold hard cash, courtesy of the All-American Racing League. Jamie Walker and Mark Arthur, those are the 2 drivers that we just spoke to in the podium. Joseph Klein, Ryan Rose round out the top 5. Relief driver Oliver Quinney in the 41 Toyota Supra finishes 6th. Tanner Marr comes home 7th. Josh Kanata, Jackson West are 8th and 9th, and the top 10 is Matthew Pavlik.
In P11, it's going to be Kyle Wellman, who had the internet connection issues from the race lead. Gabriel Ngoli finishes in P12 ahead of Cody Gibson in 13th. Alex Fuller comes home in 14th in that Scooby-Doo machine. Brian Troy in P15. Rounding out the field, we've got Nicholas Sasek in P16. Larry Bell in 17th. 18th is going to be Chris Carroll, and shotgun on the field was the original pole sitter, Nolan Mills, in the 1.
19 drivers took to the track tonight, but one driver emerges with the sword. That's Christopher Norris from the Coliseum out here from the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Arie, we'll be back next week, next Saturday night. If you enjoyed tonight's show, make sure you like the broadcast, get notified, hit the subscribe button, click the bell to get notified every single time we go live. And we will be back with you guys next week here from the All American Racing League.